excited about, because this is when your customers are actually, you know, in it with you. You know what I mean? It's real hands-on. So I always tell the stupid jokes. Another one that I use for the spatulas, I'm like, man, this tool is awesome. It's the fortune teller tool. It can tell your future. Just look right into it. You're looking at the future owner of Cutco, you know? So I always like to throw in the stupid jokes with my customers, because although they're not funny to you, to like a 40-year-old mom, you just told her like the best joke in the history of the world. She's rolling. So I always have a good time with the piece and stuff like that. Okay, the nickname for this one, this is every mother's dream. This is every mother's dream. Okay? Every mother's dream. And it truly is. This piece is very popular. In fact, this is the single most popular selling item that we sell. We sell more individual spatulas than anything else our company makes. First off, this does have the double D edge on it. So this will cut the rope in one stroke. Our rinky-dink spatula will beat out all of your best knives that you have at your house. Our spatula will. Let's say that your mom is baking a cake, right? So here's how she uses it. If she's baking a cake, the cake comes out, ice it, cut it, you can serve it right up. Notice how flexible it is. That surgical grade of steel will always go right back into place, so you can serve with it. Let's say you're making brownies, you can ice them all, cut them, get right under there, serve them up. Lasagna, same deal. Let's say you're making a sandwich, cut the turkey, lettuce, tomato, spread the mayo and mustard, cut the sandwich, one tool for everything and you're done. Mom's making a bunch of lunches or peanut butter and jelly on the weekends. It does have a dull side, one scoop, one spread, one slice, and you're completely done. It's a multi-use tool. Throw it in the dishwasher after you're finished. This thing is really popular, especially with moms as well. Okay, so that's our spatula spreader. Any questions on our spatula? Okay, well let me just read it to you as though I was on a demo here. The next tool in your set would be your spatula spreader. It's every mother's dream. It's like a regular spatula. It's really flexible, except it has the double D edge. It is literally a sandwich making machine. It makes it so much easier to get into jars of mayo or peanut butter and jelly. You can cut the sandwich and you only have one tool to clean. Now it's really great for cutting and serving cakes, pies, brownies, casseroles, and lasagnas. Do you guys see how I'm reading it though? Do you notice the enthusiasm in my voice, right? You know, if you're doing presentation, if you're doing 5, 6 presentations or 7 presentations in a day, and you're being enthusiastic in your voice, and you're reading like we're doing in here, you should probably be tired at the end of the day. If you're not tired after these presentations, you're probably not doing it right. You know what I mean? It's like Vince Vaughn or something. You guys ever seen any Vince Vaughn fans? Think about how into it he gets. You know, he's so enthusiastic and he gets so fired up. I mean, that's kind of the way I always did my presentations as well. So I would encourage you to have fun, enjoy it, love it. It's a blast. Okay, the next tool in your set will be your petite carver. Okay, this is your petite carver. The nickname for this one, this is your everyday meat knife. This is your everyday meat knife. Everyday meat knife. And this knife right here is probably the knife that, who do you think is going to use this one the most? Yeah, this is Dad's. So with the trimmer, realize this is the one Mom probably used the most, and then this is the one Dad uses the most. Now this is the rope that you cut the rope with. They've already seen this knife. You cut the rope with it. You notice from your Cutco section in your blue book, you've got the picture of it, so you can match it up to know which one to cut the rope with. So they've already seen this knife in action. However, this knife is really key because this is going to be for your everyday meats. Your steaks, your pork chops, your tenderloin, the meats that you're cooking on a weekly basis at the home. Now, people probably don't cook turkey once a week, or a ham once a week, or a big pot roast once a week. Does that make sense? Those are also much bigger meats, and so that's what your carver is for. Realize, this petite carver is what we call the in-between knife, because it's in between. It's for jobs too big for the trimmer, and then too small for the carver. This is such an important point here that we cover, is this fact that I don't call them knives. Rarely will you ever hear me call these knives. I always call them tools, because that's what they are. I mean, you've got a job, you need the right tool for the job, and depending on the size of the meat, depending on the size of the job, determines the tool, just like there's not one size of wrench, or one size of screwdriver, or one size of nails, or nuts, or bolts. Those are tools. just like these knives are. And depending on the size, will determine which one of these you're actually going to use. But you can't just do one and hope that it's going to cover the jobs for everything. If you did this one, it's going to be too small, and if you do this one, it's too big. That's why you always want to have the right one. Does that make sense? You guys ever tried to do a screw with a screwdriver that was too big or too small? I mean, it just wrecks the screw. It strips it, or it doesn't work at all. You can't turn the screwdriver. That's the same thing with the knives. If you're using a knife that's too big, it's going to be too big, and it's going to wreck everything. So anyway, let me just read this one to you as though we were on a demo, okay? The next tool in your set will be your petite carver. It's your everyday meat knife. This is the one you use to cut the rope with. It's for jobs too big for the trimmer and too small for the carver. It's great for carving chicken and small roasts, slicing through bagels and larger fruits, and vegetables such as cantaloupe, squash, and pumpkins. Now the next tool in your set will be your churning fork. And this is one of my favorite pieces here is your churning fork. First and foremost, let me share with you that this is not a fork, okay? This is not a fork. Obviously a fork, you wouldn't be able to pick something up as heavy as a grapefruit like this and hold on to it. This is not a fork. This is a serving piece. This is for serving, okay? Have you guys ever tried to get pickles or cherries or olives out of a jar? It's really hard, isn't it? I mean, either these aren't sharp enough, they're kind of rounded on your forks, and you're, fighting for it, or maybe you get it all the way up and it falls off. That's what this is going to be for, getting things out of jars. Also, think about it like this. Have you guys ever, done buffet style, hamburgers, hot dogs, anything like that, and you got that plate with the lettuce and tomatoes and cheese, and you ever stood in that line and tried to get that one little thing, and then you're just like, screw it, and you pick it up with your hands? It happens all the time. That's what this is for. It is a serving piece, okay? How about this? You guys ever tried to turn over bacon or sausage in a skillet? It's really hard, isn't it? Well, the turning fork is designed so that you can simply turn things right over. That's why it's called a turning fork, okay? So I share that with you because these three things are called tines. The ones on the end are flared. They go outward. That's how you can pick something up, and it's just going to stay on there, and it's not going to go off unless you want it to. It's a serving piece, really popular tool, okay? Let me just, that's the nickname for it, by the way, is the serving piece, so you remember. So jot that in there as your nickname. And let me just read this one to you as though I was on a demo. The next tool in your set will be your churning fork. It's your serving piece. Have you ever had a hard time turning food in a frying pan? Well, this has 3 sharp, flared tines that have been shaped to make it easier to use. Now, it's really great for turning bacon, sausage, chicken, French toast, and stir-fried vegetables. It's also great for getting pickles, cherries, and olives out of a jar as well. Okay? Any questions on your turning fork so far? All right. Well, the next tool in your set then will be your butcher's knife. And this is the one that you go get when your husband gets out of line. Okay? This is like the bad boy of the set. That's the nickname. That's what I want you to add. Because, hey, I'm going to ensure you have a good time on your presentations. This is the one you go get when your husband gets out of line. That's what I want you to write in there. Even if you're not funny, I'll give you funny things to say. Okay? I promise. So this is the one you get when your husband gets out of line. Now, if the husband's right there, then you got to, give him a little look like, this is the one she's going to get when you screw around, or when you get out of line here. Or if you got, the kids at the table, you're like, if you guys keep acting up, parents might get this one out on you here, But have a good time with it. Enjoy the presentation, Everybody gets a kick out of that. Okay? All right. Let me just talk to you about the butcher's knife here, first off. This is a butcher's knife. If I didn't tell you any better, you would tell me that this is a butcher's knife, because you don't really know anything about knives. This is a butcher's knife, okay? Now, it's called a butcher's knife. That doesn't mean you have to be a butcher to use it. This knife right here, if you notice, I'll show you here, but you can probably notice the width of the steel, that the butcher's knife is twice as wide as the petite carver. It's twice as wide. And it means that it's twice as strong as well. This butcher's knife is the only knife in the set that will cut through frozen solid foods like butter. This is the only knife in the set that will cut through bones as well. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do those jobs every day, but have you guys ever had a job where you're trying to cut something so hard you thought your knife would snap? Makes you a little nervous, you kind of hesitate a little bit? That's what the butcher's knife is for. If you guys go to any place with barbecue and they're sectioning off ribs or cutting up brisket